In the 1950s, Sweden, like many other countries, found itself in a pretty tough spot. Just a few years after the battles of World War II, Europe was already caught between two superpowers, the USSR with its satellite states and the US with the North Atlantic Alliance. The Swedes stayed neutral in the previous conflict and weren't going to pick a side this time either. Despite that, Sweden still had to consider the possibility of a Soviet invasion, so naturally, they kept investing in defense capabilities. One of the biggest things they needed was a domestically produced tank, suited for use in the mountainous terrain of their country. That vehicle had to be as compact as possible and come equipped with an autoloading system of some description. For a while, defense officials had high hopes for a project that was iterating on the design of the French AMX-13, but by the mid-1950s, the development stalled. By that point, Sweden had already resorted to buying Centurion tanks to fill their ranks, but there was no denying that the British vehicle, however excellent, was not what the military asked for, and so the efforts to develop a new tank continued. Around that time, an engineer called Sven Berger, who led the construction of the Stridsvagn 74, came up with a proposal for a new tank, the Strv S. His idea was as simple as it was radical. Berger proposed to eliminate the turret completely. And that made sense, as in combat conditions, most tank losses are the result of the turret being penetrated. At the same time, Berger wanted to equip the new tank with an autoloader allowing a high rate of fire. In the end, the production vehicle would fire up to 15 rounds per minute. The design only became more radical as the development went on. For example, Swedish engineers decided to power the tank with two different kinds of engines at the same time, the Rolls-Royce diesel and the Boeing turbine, creating a configuration with a unique set of strengths and drawbacks, like burning through fuel really fast while also allowing for a very compact arrangement. When it came to the crew, the Strv S was also fairly unorthodox. Originally, the crew was reduced to only 2, but later down the line during the development, a third crew member was added, a driver/radio operator facing rearwards. The vehicle was also designed in a way that a single person was able to handle all functions of the tank from their ordinary position due to duplicate controls. During 1960, the Army placed an initial pre-production order for 10 vehicles. It took engineers at Bofors 3 years to make the vision of Berger into a reality, and in the fall of 1963, the Swedish Army finally received their first prototype tank, now known as the Strv 103-0. It's worth noting that the vehicle had only 40 millimeters of armor protecting it from the front, which was really low for the time. The idea was that enemy projectiles, including modern large-caliber rounds, would simply bounce off the tank's armor, slanted at an angle of almost 80 degrees. The tank was adopted in 1967 as the Stridsvagn 103, or the Strv 103 for short. 103 in the name from being the third tank with a 10cm caliber gun accepted into Swedish service. The previous 2 were Swedish Centurions, the Strv 101 and the Strv 102, all 3 vehicles serving together up until the early 1990s. Despite the obvious comparisons to SPG designs of the World War II era, like the German Jagdpanther, the Swedes were adamant at classifying their new vehicle as an MBT, with full intention of using it in this capacity both in defense and offense. Full production of the Strv 103 started in 1967 and ended in 1971 with 290 vehicles delivered. In the following decades, it received numerous upgrades, including a new fire control system and a more powerful Caterpillar engine replacing the Boeing turbine. The Strv 103C variant is considered to be the most advanced model of the series. It was given additional protection against heat projectiles, more powerful engines, a new laser rangefinder, and a new FCS. The Strv 103 was finally retired in the 1990s when it was replaced with the German Leopard 2. But it's pretty clear that this unique vehicle did more than enough to earn a place in the halls of fame. The way it's armored and operated, its turretless design, its engine configuration. There's still not a single tank quite like the Strv 103. And even though this unusual MBT never saw combat in real life, you can test it out in War Thunder, where it's waiting for you at ranks 5 and 6 of the Swedish tech tree. And if you're already an experienced user of the famous S-Tank, share your experiences and stories with us. That's right. What is your way to use it effectively? As an MBT? An ambush vehicle? Tell us in the comments below. We'd love to learn your secrets.